Hey guys, welcome to my first upload here on the Chestnut Gaming channel from the Capture event over in Berlin. Big thank you, of course, to EA for flying myself and a number of other YouTubers out to Berlin to capture some FIFA 19 footage for you early. Of course, the first port of call here on the Career Mode channel is to find out, with any given team, how much money you're going to have to spend in the transfer window. As we do every year, we'll be having a look through all of the Premier League teams, all of the Serie A teams, Bundesliga teams, and La Liga teams. And those 4 videos, this being the first, of course, will be coming out throughout the course of the day. I have also got Manchester City Career Mode coming your way either later this evening or as my first upload tomorrow, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Do make sure you're subscribed to the channel to make sure you don't miss anything here from the capture event itself, or of course from full launch once it arrives. I should point out that I will be doing a Tottenham Hotspur career mode from launch, multiple seasons, and hopefully being very successful. But I've a lot of content on your way over the next few days. I recorded about 20 videos, this being the first of which, and like I say, at least another 3 coming today with the other budget videos too. But we shall start here with Arsenal, of course. Like I say, as always, do drop the video a like if you enjoy. Subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss out on more. And Arsenal's budget is as follows, as you can see on your screen. They've a rather healthy 110, almost 111 million pounds. Now, Arsenal IRL, of course, have made a number of additions to the squad already, including Socrates, the centre-back from Borussia Dortmund, Bernd Leno, also from the Bundesliga, coming in from Bayer Leverkusen. So you might want to add to that yet further still. Unai Emery was very active in the transfer window IRL. Of course, Lucas Torreira coming in from Serie A as well, the CDM that had a very good World Cup with Uruguay. So there's still plenty of work to be done to the Arsenal squad, but you have the finances available to do it. Now, what do you have to do once you're there? Of course, as you can see, high domestic and continental success expectations from the board. As expected, Arsenal want success on the pitch, and they want success off the pitch as well with regards to brand exposure. And that, for them, is even more important. No financial and, strangely, low youth development requirements at Arsenal. Would have expected that to be higher, considering the quality of their youth setup. But that's the situation with Arsenal. They finished 6th last year, so Europa League football will be available for you. But unfortunately for Bournemouth fans, who finished 12th last year, there won't be any Europa League football for you, but you will have £41.6 million to spend. And basically, minimal expectations. Do what the hell you like, perform as well as you possibly can. Don't need to worry about getting the sack at Bournemouth, I don't think, unless you end up finishing bottom by a margin. That should be a very comfortable first job and a nice welcome to the Premier League if you're newer to playing either A, FIFA in general, or B, perhaps testing out the ultimate difficulty, which is new this year. So Bournemouth might be a good one to try for that, of course. But moving on from Bournemouth, alphabetically, of course, we find ourselves coming up next to Brighton. So still on the south coast, but a little bit further east. Very low expectations domestically and continentally, so again, no real pressure on the pitch. However, slightly more off the pitch. Medium expectations for brand exposure and financial. Low youth development though, so you don't really need to worry too much about that. And you've, as you can see, £28 million at your disposal. Of course, Premier League budgets comparatively to the rest of other top leagues in Europe and just other top leagues globally are inflated because of the excess of financial clout being thrown around by TV companies and all of the various different licensing deals that go into the Premier League, thus meaning that there's more prize money available, more TV money available, and teams have higher budgets. There will be lower budgets for all of the other teams in the other 3 videos that we'll be doing budget-wise, but still, £28 million is a decent whack for a club the size of Brighton. They've made some signings in real life as well. They've also beaten Manchester United already this season in real life as well. So perhaps could do some damage with Brighton. Moving on from Brighton, then we find ourselves moving north, now away from the south coast up to Lancashire, to Burnley. And they have a remarkable almost £40 million to spend. Unheard of in the northwest for a club the size of Burnley. Again, low domestic and continental success, wanting you to concentrate off the field, but with the money that you've got available to you, you can concentrate on the field as well. Not that active in the transfer window in real life, Burnley, although they finished 7th last season and have been involved in Europa League football in the qualifying rounds in real life. I don't believe they'll be involved in the Europa League in FIFA. The Europa League qualification rounds aren't a thing on FIFA. They never have been. The fourth qualifying round, however, for the Champions League is a thing, but Burnley aren't necessarily involved in that, unfortunately for them. But you never know. Season 2, if you have a good year, you could be perhaps involved in the fourth qualifying round of the Champions League, or even full automatic qualification yourself, although it would admittedly have to be one hell of a season, although some of you out there are absolutely beastly at FIFA, certainly a lot better than I am. But anyway, we'll move from Burnley to Cardiff City, one of and our first, in fact, newly promoted side to the Premier League. Now, they have a smaller budget, but still manageable, and still certainly something that you could use and add to the squad with. Again, the smaller sides do seem to have very low expectations with regards to their overall domestic success, which is surprising. You would have thought, considering the amount of prize money available, that doing well domestically, or with regards to the league, would have been quite important. But as you can see here, only medium on financial, and that being the highest of anything else. You will have practically zero expectations with regards on-field performances. Although, to be fair for Cardiff, after finishing second in the Championship but not starting the Premier League that well, you might be glad of not having too much expectation domestically, because you might struggle with Cardiff City in your first year in the Premier League. Although, again, like I say, some of you are better than me, so I might struggle with Cardiff, you guys might not. However, a team that I don't think anyone would struggle with is Chelsea. They're our next team, and, well, just look at that budget. Eclipsing Arsenal by a couple million, up at 112. Now, having bought in players like Jorginho already in the transfer window, and Kepa Arrizabalaga, although, of course, losing Thibaut Courtois, there is work to do with Chelsea. A strong squad, especially having kept hold of players like Eden Hazard. However, expectantly, is expectant. Domestic success, continental success, and brand exposure are all critical. You're not going to need to worry about money at Chelsea, and unfortunately, as is the case, you're not going to need to worry about youth development either. You have the financial clout to be able to sign whoever the hell you want, so you don't need to worry about bringing through the youth. However, that might be an option that you wish to go for, and put your faith in players like Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and see if you can't build a dynasty at Chelsea from the youth, and perhaps follow the opposite of what's happened at the club in the past few years, to be completely honest. But I won't be using Chelsea this year. I used them last year. Like I said, I'm starting with Tottenham this year, and I alternate, don't I? 1 year I do Cambridge, 1 year I do Chelsea. This year on FIFA 19, I will be doing a Cambridge United Road to Glory, and I won't be using Chelsea. But if you guys want to go ahead, you will have a large budget at your disposal. And next up, we stay in London, although South London rather than South West. It's Crystal Palace. They finished slap bang, well, not slap bang, well, I mean almost slap bang. Finished level on points with Newcastle, who were 10th. Crystal Palace in 11th last year, with Bournemouth also on 44 points in 12th. It was basically goal difference that denied Crystal Palace the opportunity to finish in the top half of the table. And that wasn't helped by, 7 straight defeats without scoring a goal in the Premier League last year. Certainly been better this year. And as you can see, again, minimal expectations. £42.4 million available to you. Players like Christian Benteke and Wilfried Zaha will be very important going forward, although they do have the addition of Salomon Rondon now as well, of course, having seen him signed from previously relegated West Brom, who propped up the table at the bottom last season. So Palace got a decent squad, to be fair. There's always a little bit of rumblings in comment sections and on Twitter, etc., for me to use Crystal Palace. So maybe this might be the year. We shall have to wait and see. It might be the year for you as well. So do let me know which teams you're going to be playing with in the comment section down below. But moving on from Crystal Palace, we find ourselves out of the C's and into the E's. It's Everton up next. £56.8 million. Everton not stereotypically a big spending club. However, they have spent big in the past couple of seasons. Most notably, of course, this year with the signing of Richarlison, who has hit the ground running, if you ignore the red card that he picked up a couple of weeks ago. High success expected of you domestically at Everton, which is a surprise. I would have thought that would have been set to medium, and perhaps financial would have been slightly more important. But as you can see, high brand exposure is important, and of course high brand exposure goes hand in hand with high shirt sales, which in turn generates money, which should help you financially anyway, so it's not really too much of an issue. Medium expectations with regards to youth development, meaning that you are going to have to concentrate a little bit on the young players coming young players coming through, like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, etc. And medium expectations continentally as well, meaning they will probably expect you to qualify for the Europa League in Season 1, something Everton weren't able to do last year by finishing 8th in the Premier League. But we move from Everton and the E's into the F's, and it's the team that we've most recently seen on the channel. Apologies for not finishing that particular series, but time got away with me, and then just being out of the country every week or every other week for the past month has been a bit of an issue as well. But it's Fulham up next, of course, the second of the 3 promoted sides that we've seen so far, coming up via the playoffs last year. Their budget is, as you can see on your screen, also surprisingly high, almost £40 million for Fulham to spend as well. They spent over £100 million in the transfer window in real life, which is a record for a newly promoted side. They've spent well, as we saw from the Fulham series that we did on FIFA 18, because of course we went out and signed a number of the new signings that Fulham had done and automatically transferred those that were done prior to the start of the series. So players like Maxime Lemarchand have been very good. Andre Schürrle's definitely been playing well for Fulham. Alexander Mitrovic had a loan move made permanent. He's been playing well for them, although I didn't necessarily get on with him that well on FIFA 18. But you never know, with a new gameplay in 19, I may end up having my entire game plan switch around. But very low expectation domestically and continentally, as you would expect. Very, very important though, critical in fact, that you concentrate on youth development at Fulham. You've got the money to buy the new players in, but perhaps that money would be best spent if you want to appease the board in investing it in high quality youth scouts and trying to build a squad from the academy. We'll have to wait and see what you guys decide to do there. Side that comes up next is Huddersfield, a side that probably were expected to get relegated last year, did well to avoid relegation, ended up finishing 4 points above the relegation zone in 16th place. Now their budget is okay, sat at 30 million, but it's not the best, and it is a squad that's going to need work. So, and also financial expectation is medium, so they're going to need to, or you're going to need to be careful with your money, even though it does need to be spent. So perhaps a tricky proposition at Huddersfield, although no expectations domestically or well, obviously continentally, but no expectations domestically, meaning that you could perhaps risk it a little bit, and even if you do end up going down, keeping hold of your job, which would be preferable, of course, if you're a Huddersfield fan and you want to do well with town, but you might end up having to take the drop to then come back up. But you never know. If you can stay up, then of course, do your utmost to stay up. Moving on from Huddersfield Town, we come back south a little bit to Leicester City. Of course, previous Premier League champions Leicester City, although now without talisman Riyad Mahrez, of course, having transferred to Manchester City, a side we'll come on to in a short while. Leicester finishing 9th last season, which is respectable considering, other than the Premier League winning side season, they've been a side that have been threatened with relegation most every year. Medium expectation across the board, other than youth development, which is set to low. So you got kind of free reign at Leicester, not too pressurised by the board. You wouldn't have thought. Perhaps another 9th place, you know, mid-table mediocrity would be enough to appease the Leicester board, and you should be able to perhaps build to mount another Premier League title challenge within a couple of seasons at Leicester. We stay with the L's though, moving from Leicester back up to the northwest. We've already seen one Merseyside side, and now it's time for the red half of the city. It's Liverpool, a side that will no doubt be very popular with career mode users, not only because they were Champions League finalists last year, but they have actually a rather good squad. Improvements in goal with Alisson, and of course further improvements could be made with the £94 million available to you. Massive budget at Liverpool. Surprised actually to see low youth development expectations. Liverpool are a team that have tended to bring through their own talent. Steven Gerrard, and most notably recently Trent Alexander-Arnold, of course, breaking through into the first team and actually making quite a name for himself at such an early stage of his career. But domestic success is critical at Liverpool. They're back at the stage now where you are going to need to be challenging for the Premier League title season in, season out. High continental success, which I'll be honest, is a surprise. I would have thought the Champions League would have been of critical expectation as well. Brand exposure also critical to maintain the size of the fan base, and of course to keep the money coming in. Therefore, you don't need to worry too much about on the financial side of things, because the brand exposure should cover your financial issues, should you have any, which club the size of Liverpool, you shouldn't. Liverpool finishing 4th, of course, in the Premier League last season, and will be wanting to do better with your guidance this season. Manchester City were able to hit the ton last year in the Premier League, and I will be looking to do something similar with them over the next few days. They're the next side that we are coming up to here, as you can see. Yes, that budget is ridiculous, but yes, the squad doesn't really need touching, but yes, I will be touching it, so to speak. That probably could have been phrased better. Manchester City are the side that we're going to be doing a one-season all-or-nothing series with here on the channel from the capture event. I haven't yet decided whether that video or the first episode of that series will come out today or tomorrow. You will find out in due course, or I shall let you know on Twitter, so do feel free to follow me over there if you don't already. But for now, let's concentrate on the Manchester City we have in front of us here, and that transfer budget. 168 million of your finest English pounds. But to be fair, yes, the squad's incredible, but if you are going to compete, because the size of the other budgets of the other teams around you in the Premier League, you'll see from Manchester United in a moment as well that theirs is quite hefty, you are probably going to need to spend. There is obviously sheer quality in Manchester City, but there isn't much depth. You've seen players like Benjamin Mendy last year get injured, and admittedly Fabian Delph stepped up and did a very good job, but then they're having to rely on players like Fabian Delph or Zinchenko to step into the role of first-team players that get injured. And I don't know, as the depth of Manchester City is good enough on FIFA 19 to challenge on all four fronts. Whether I can challenge on all four fronts with them, you'll have to wait and see over the next few days, the next week or so, as we work our way through a one-season showdown. But critical across the board on the pitch, and brand exposure too. You owned by the Etihad Group, so you're not going to need to worry about money whatsoever. And City haven't recently, of late, really worried that much about youth development either. But when you've got that sort of money at your disposal, you don't have to, because you can buy whoever the hell you want to anyway. If you thought City's budget was impressive, you might be actually more shocked to see that Manchester United's budget is only a couple of million shy of that. Although, is it a surprise? Because Man United didn't really do much in the transfer window, as Jose Mourinho has very publicly stated numerous times, and there's been obviously the whole furore with the board there. You're going to have the money to spend yourself on FIFA 19, though. Critical expectations across the board, basically the same as Manchester City. So do what you want with Manchester United. You've got the money to do what you want at Manchester United, and I'm sure a lot of you will do what you want with Manchester United and win multiple trophies. So best of luck to you if they're the side that you decide to take forward in your first career mode of FIFA 19. We shall move from the northwest to the northeast, slightly further northeast than comparative levels to Manchester, is Newcastle United. They did finish slap bang mid-table last season, finishing 10th on 44 points, as we mentioned when we got to Crystal Palace earlier. And it's a real mixture of expectations. Almost everything there. Low, medium, high, and critical. Critical being the financial side of things, because, of course, Mike Ashley likes to fill his pockets. Only a £30 million budget at Newcastle as well, which, again, pretty realistic. Mike Ashley doesn't give Rafa Benitez any money whatsoever to spend in the window, and you don't look like you're going to get much to spend either. 30 million sounds like a lot, but in today's financial market and today's transfer market, it's really not that much at all. So you might have to concentrate on the youth development, which is set to medium. You will most certainly have to concentrate on the financial and brand exposure, which is set to critical and high, respectively. And domestic success, probably going to need that top half finish, to be completely honest, if you want to keep your job. So it's going to be interesting to see how people get on with Newcastle, because the squad is good, but it's not amazing, and it does need some work. But whether you'll be able to do it with that £30 million remains to be seen. Now, a side that scraped by last year and were able to just stay up by the skin of their teeth were Southampton, and you've a decent budget there of £40 million, give or take the odd 500 grand here or there between friends. Financial and youth development expectations high. I would have expected youth development to be critical at Southampton, but it's not a surprise that it's set at the higher end of the scale. Southampton, a club renowned for bringing through their youngsters and then selling them on to Liverpool, if you want to believe the meme, which, to be fair, is only a meme because it's kind of true the past few years. Financial expectations also set to high, medium domestic and brand exposure expectations with low continental success. Avoid relegation at all costs, and if you can, finish mid to top half of the table if possible at Southampton. Now we move from the south coast to the north of London to the first team that I'm going to be using on FIFA 19 come launch. It's Tottenham Hotspur. Now they didn't do anything in the transfer window in real life, and to be honest, well, I guess actually considering the new stadium, £80 million is probably quite a handy budget actually. If you think about it realistically from a point of view of the board, having spent however God knows how much money on a brand new ground, still making 80 million available to you here as a transfer budget is actually quite generous considering, like we say, in real life they made literally 0 signings. Domestic success is set to critical, so I am going to have my work cut out at Tottenham in my first year, but I'm sure Tottenham fans would agree when I say you've got the squad, you just need to win that first trophy, and then who knows what could happen with Tottenham Hotspur in real life. And to be honest, if I can win a trophy season 1 with Spurs here on FIFA 19, once full launch comes around, the sky is the limit for us with regards to that particular series, and hopefully we shall, well, reach the sky with Tottenham Hotspur. Continental success and brand exposure also set to high with financial and youth development set to medium. We'll concentrate a little bit on youth, I think, at Tottenham, as they have done recently under Maurizio Pochettino. It's kind of his way, isn't it, to bring through the youth as well as add the odd additional signing too, other than the window previously gone. But we move on from Spurs to a team that beat them recently. It's Watford, a side whose home kit I actually kind of like, that yellow and black stripe. I'm not really too sure why, but it really appeals to me. Anyway, brand exposure and financial set to medium, low domestic and continental success, very low youth development. Having lost Richarlison, he's going to need to be replaced, and only having £42 million to replace him isn't the biggest of budgets down at Vicarage Road, but you guys will most certainly want to be improving on Watford's 14th place last season if you can. Probably a 2-year job at least to get yourself up into the European spots. Probably a 3-year job to get yourself into the Champions League spots, unless you're an absolute whiz or you're playing on a difficulty too low for you. But we stay with the W's. There's only W's left now in the Premier League. It's West Ham. A team who, in real life, made a number of signings, I think is the best way to phrase it. They signed bloody everybody. And, well, it hasn't really gone too well for them in real life. Not the best of starts to the season for the Hammers, but with £55 million at your disposal, a number of options available to you to yet further improve the team, and hopefully they'll gel quicker under you than they have done under their new boss, Pellegrini, down at the Olympic Stadium. But good arena to play your football in, albeit a little bit distant for the fans that are a long way away. And a good squad as a base, and there's certainly money there to spend to build upon that base. Now we move to our final team of the video and our final team of the Premier League and our final promoted side from last year. It's Wolves. And after their incredible season in the Championship last year, I think expectations were higher than they perhaps should have been for the arrival in the Premier League. Although, with signing players like João Moutinho and Rui Patricio, perhaps the expectations are where they should be IRL. They should be slightly higher on FIFA as well, in my opinion. Low domestic success, very low financial and continental success, with medium brand exposure and youth development. Not the way round I would have seen it. Perhaps higher financial expectations, despite the fact that they do have quite the backing currently with regards to bank balance, and higher domestic success. I thought with the ambitions of the money that they would want more than just low domestic success, but that's the way of things it seems with Wolves, and that's the way of things it seems with the Premier League. Do let me know in the comment section down below which sides you're going to be using. Let me know which sides you might like to see me use throughout the course of FIFA 19. Like I said, going to be starting with Tottenham Hotspur. We'll be doing a Cambridge United Road to Glory at some point during FIFA 19 as well. Also, multiple other series, whether they be in or outside of England. But speaking of outside of England, we will be doing a video for La Liga budgets, Bundesliga budgets, and Serie A budgets as well today. So keep your eyes peeled on the channel for those videos. They probably won't be as long as this one, obviously spending more time on the Premier League than others, as I'm more familiar with the Premier League, and of course there's a larger audience for it, so you probably would have wanted me to go a little bit more in depth. But that's why this video is slightly longer. The others will be probably almost certainly under 25 minutes and under 20 as well. But for now, thank you very much for watching. Drop the video a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel too to make sure you don't miss out on anything here on the Chestnut Gaming channel, FIFA 19 related. And I'll see you next time.